Hello everyone, I'm Maddie.
And I'm Jack.
And today we're going to be talking about the Detroit Pistons game on March 25th versus the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks were coming off an 11-game win streak and were able to make tonight their 12th, unfortunately.
The Pistons were down by 20 at one point in this game, and they managed to get all the way back up and make it go into overtime. And sadly, they lost by 1 point in a buzzer beater shot attempt, and they missed it.
I can't help but wonder if the reason that they lost is because Cade was not playing tonight, along with Isaiah Stewart.
They were both out, and they're both like major parts of the team, and it looked like they just struggled without them. And you could kind of tell based off just watching it, they struggled with spacing, and the effort just looked like it wasn't there. They kind of looked like they gave up tonight a little bit.
I feel like they came off really strong in the beginning of the second half after being down by 20. And then once it got to overtime, they kind of just let go, which obviously affected them drastically in this sense. And then Isaiah Stewart being out, I was honestly surprised to see that after he was just out, given the fact that he was suspended for
he's been out for a while,
period of time.
And he's one of the best rim protectors in the league, so I think he could have helped in this game specifically a lot. When there was a lot of wide open layups, you could see there was not a lot of traffic in the lane, which the defense was just really bad. Our offense wasn't really a problem, even though Denise Jenkins had 10 assists, 6 turnovers, but the 6 turnovers outweighed because a lot of that turned into fast break points, which created easy points for them.
And the Hawks could just not seem to miss a single shot they took.
2 of them were lead scoring. C.J. McCollum had 27. Jalen Johnson had 42. Or he had 20. They both had 27. He had 42 minutes played in the game. They shot 35% from 3. So not really that good.
It's just we could not defend them, honestly. And we were not getting our rebounds whatsoever. It was as if we assumed every shot that we were throwing would just end up in the net. And that's not what happened tonight. And this does kind of worry me for playoffs, as our last game of the season, regular season, is April 12th. I just don't know how we're going to be playing, assuming that Cade will most likely not be participating in the playoffs. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think he's going to be back in time, as the collapsed lung that takes time to recover and everything. And I think in the playoffs, we have a chance because we're the 1 seed, so we'll be playing the worst. We're playing the 8 seed. I think we have a chance, but I feel like it's going to be tough. And I don't know if we have it, honestly, without Cade, because he was in MVP competition.
So was he just taken out of the MVP competition?
So there's a 65-game rule.
Okay.
And he's played 60 games. He's played but he's not at the there's a game rule for the competition, and he's just below that. So he'd have to play a few more games, and obviously he can't.
Yeah.
So he's out of the MVP.
Yeah.
So he can't make the All-NBA. So it hurts the Pistons as a team, too, because they're missing that leadership. They're missing the pride of having him as an All-NBA player.
Especially after a high all season, and now they're just left.
This is
the most important part of the season, which I think is going to affect them a lot. Hopefully not as much to a point to where they're not performing to their full potential, but I do think that's a possibility, unfortunately. Jalen Duren was our lead scorer tonight, and I was also surprised to see that Dennis Jenkins was starting now that Cade's out for the remainder of the season, because he went undrafted and then was signed in a 2-way with the G League, and then they signed him fully just last month. So I think that's really impressive for him, and that's kind of a big deal. So I was really happy to see that, and he proves himself game after game, clearly. 19
points, 10 assists, that's a double-double. He's really our main playmaker because he fills that gap gone from Cade. He played 45 minutes, which is the most out of any player. He was on the court, so you can see the need for him in this game. He was trusted with the ball multiple times. He shot 6 for 13, which I expected him to take more shots.
Agreed. He was, in the beginning of the game, let me just say this, he was trying to be a little fancy with his passes and stuff, which I think affected us, and was part of the reason we were down by so much in the beginning of the game, just because it was like nobody would just shoot the ball. Like they felt like they needed to pass it at the most unnecessary times. Like it was just time after time after time rather than just shooting it and rebounding it. But I do think he is really needed, and you could just feel his energy when you're watching the game every time he's on there, because whenever he's out there, he's giving it his all, 100%. So
Jalen Duren also had a double-double with 14 rebounds, 26 points, and he kind of controlled the paint.
Which I feel like is what he has been doing for majority of the season. We saw Cade and Duren doing it for a while, but now that Cade's not there anymore, it seems like he's kind of taken that role.
Yeah, he's into a bigger role, especially now because he needs to be trusted more, because we don't have that scoring gap. Is just Cade provides scores himself around 25 points a game, but the scores he provides for other players is what really makes him special, and that's what was missed. So Duren had to take things into his own hands sometimes and get work done in the paint. But I also think Duren, as you watch the game, he really a lot of the game he just like screened and passed it off, and that's what he's supposed to do because he's a center. But I feel like it didn't really create any offense, and
he had
kind of
so
did
many
that too much.
opportunities to
he
score.
could have drove or did something, and you could see him just on the 3-point line. He just, instead of like trying to dribble or like trying to like cut or something, he just passed it off to the point guard and kind of just like stayed around the 3-point line. He didn't really...
And I get playing your role, but at the same time, when such a big role is out, I feel like you kind of need to take on others as well. And it was just difficult to see that happen in tonight's game. Especially, Hawks are not a bad team. They're number 6 in the East. So it was definitely a competitive game, but I feel like there was just so many missed opportunities throughout the night that would have helped us a lot. And I'm really glad we were able to get our power back in the second half going into overtime. But it's just like at the end of the game, I've seen this so often, we just seem to like just let it happen, let anything happen, and not really take the control that we often see throughout the second half.
Yeah, I totally agree, because when like a turnover or something happens, you can see them not sprinting all the way back. You can just see it. They're not like putting what they could into it.
They're not putting all of their effort into it, which
definitely. And
it's just, it makes obviously fans and everyone watching upset to see that, because it's not like it goes unnoticed. And it's just like, put the effort in. Like, you're this close to playoffs. Obviously, they know they're already secured, but
clinched.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like you should be wanting to win these games, especially like knowing that this is like a big game for them as well, as they have a win streak. Like having the determination to break that win streak because they know they're such a good team. Like, I feel like that determination really would have helped them throughout this game.
Yeah, and as a fan viewpoint, just in the game, you could feel the tension, you could feel all these emotions.
Overall, it was definitely a very entertaining game to watch. I'm happy that they made it up from that 20-point gap. That was definitely something scary to see, but there's always next game.
Jay Short signing out.
Thanks for listening.